preparing to say goodbye to who just might be the most famous person ever from Indianapolis. Hey, it's Sean in the city, and our own late night legend, David Letterman, retiring, of course, and I wanted to dedicate an episode to him, and I think a fitting way to do that is just to share stories from people who know him. So I don't know him, but I'm going to share what Dave means to me, and then you're going to hear from Jeff Smulyan, who I'm fortunate enough to work for here at Emmis, and Jeff hired Dave back in his Indianapolis radio days. And then another friend of mine from Indy, Kevin Wanzer, who is a comedian who actually got to work for The Late Show.
I was an intern on Late Night with David Letterman, beginning in January of 1987. I'm not old enough to have seen him on the weather, when he did that, but I always admired him. And it wasn't just the comedy aspect of David. I mean, I'd heard stories about just he's a genuinely good guy. And I think that's what appealed to me equally as much as, of course, his comedic genius.
Somebody said, you got to watch Letterman. He's on Channel 13. He was doing the weather and some public service shows, and I watched him a couple times and thought, this guy is really funny.
We're under a flash flood warning, but all of that seems of little importance once you take a look at the cloud cover photograph made earlier of the United States today, and I think you'll see that once again we've fallen to the prey of political dirty dealings. And right now you can see what I'm talking about. The higher-ups have removed the border between Indiana and Ohio, making it one giant state. Personally, I'm against it.
We hired him to do talk. Interestingly enough, the idea was it was sort of lighthearted, but also serious talk. David was great at the lighthearted stuff. Some of the serious stuff he was not probably as good at, and he got some criticism, but he was brilliant. What I learned is we were really programming a talk station, which is largely 55 plus people. And where David's sweet spot was 25-year-olds. So I think we had a small group of 25 to 30-year-olds who just thought it was the funniest thing of all time, which was my age at the time and his age. And then we had a lot of 65-year-olds who just thought, I can still remember one day somebody called up and said, there's communists all over Carmel. And David said, well, I think you got to give them Carmel. Schools are overcrowded, traffic is a mess. I think you got to give them Carmel and hold the line at Nora.
Boy, oh boy, America, have we got a show for you. In fact, I'm not surprised that they didn't save this one and release it as a feature-length motion picture where you normally have to go pay $3 or $4 to get in and see it. A terrific show.
Well, he did the show about a year. When he took the job, he said, in a year, I'm going to California to make it. And he did.
I was fortunate enough to get to go see The Late Show at the Ed Sullivan Theater last year, and I actually got to sit at Dave's desk, which felt like hallowed ground to me. And Dave, I think it means so much to me because I grew up with him. My dad passed away when I was 11 years old, and I remember not wanting my classmates to feel sorry for me. So I would stay up late at night and memorize jokes from Dave's monologue that I could then repeat at school the next day so I could make people laugh.
The thing that really made the impact on me was how kind everyone was. And the office felt like Indiana. I remember that too. There were Indiana pictures on the hallways, so being from Indianapolis himself, it felt like I was home. And there were the Indianapolis Star came every day, and it was great.
You always knew that David was one of the funniest human beings alive. You also know that sometimes you can go to Hollywood and you never click, but certainly he was incredibly talented.
One time I was working at a radio station in St. Louis, and I got called to the boss's office, and that's never good. And the boss said, he was talking about something I did on the air the day before, and he said, that thing that you did, it was very Letterman-esque. And I don't want you to ever do anything like that again. That's not what we were going for. And so I walked out of my boss's office kind of, holding my head down, but inside I was smiling because I thought I just got the greatest compliment in the world. They said I did something that was Letterman-esque. I'm like, I must be doing something right.
If I were to say something to David Letterman, I just appreciate the person that he is because he's done so much for others, and it's the most modest. I don't know. Yes, he's probably one of the greatest comedy giants of all time, but I think the way he lives his life as a person is his true legacy for people that know him.
So from one Midwestern kid with a quirky sense of humor to another, thank you, David Letterman, for the years of laughter, the inspiration, and for almost getting me fired that one time.